to the Conversations podcast, where we believe conversations create change. We are your hosts, Mike and
Steph.
let's go. First episode of 2025.
Oh my gosh.
Can you believe it?
I can't believe it.
It's already like last time we saw our people was like last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I know. It is insane. It's kind of wild because like we record every 2 weeks, but a lot happens.
A lot happens in the span
Right?
of 2 weeks.
Exactly. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to give you guys an update, but I'm extremely excited for today's topic because today we're going to talk about something that we have been implementing, refining, and we're going to let you in on how we set up our weekly check-in marriage meetings.
Yeah.
But before we do that, right?
Oh God.
It's 2025. 2024, where did you go? I'm so happy you're gone.
Did you just come up with that song?
I did. But I'm excited for the new year.
Yeah, same.
I think we celebrated pretty well,
We did.
in my opinion.
We had a very chill New Year's.
We did, which is a little bit more up my alley.
What? Don't lie.
Okay, but we had a really low-key New Year's, which I really appreciated. We were thinking about going out and hanging out with our friends. Obviously, we miss them, and we always love it when we're with them. But 2024 has been such an intense year.
Yeah.
We hold it with two realities. There was a lot of beauty and a lot of pain, a lot of burden, a lot of blessing. It was wild.
Yeah.
So we just kind of wanted to have a low-key end of the year.
Yeah.
And just be with each other and have a good time. But it made me wonder, did you have any New Year's traditions growing up? Because your family always got together, you guys always partied, and I'm just curious if you guys did anything that's just a tradition.
I feel like we did what every or many Hispanic households do.
Yeah. You did the suitcase thing?
Of course. I was in Hialeah.
Wait, but you really did it?
Of course I did.
I did not know this about you.
You didn't know that?
No, I didn't know that you did the suitcase thing.
And we would go around the block.
Okay, hold on. For context, we have a lot of people who aren't Hispanic who are probably watching.
Miami.
Exactly, because we're in Lake County now. So, can you just let our people know what is the whole suitcase thing with New Year's?
Okay, so there's a what's that called?
A tradition.
It's more than a tradition. It's a belief, like
A superstition.
A superstition. There's a superstition.
That's the problem. We're Christians. We don't believe in superstition. But go ahead, keep going.
But this was me, BC. Okay, where if you grab a luggage and you go around the block or you go around the house with your luggage outside, it means that you're gonna travel a lot.
Is that what that meant?
How did you not know that?
I thought it meant you guys were letting go of the baggage of 2024.
I'm dead.
If you thought it meant that you were gonna travel?
No, that is what it is.
You know what's crazy? You didn't start traveling until last year. How many years in a row? It wasn't working. You've gone nowhere except the Dominican Republic.
The tradition.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So yeah, we would grab our luggage and we'd walk around the block.
That's crazy.
With our luggage.
Did you put clothes in it?
No, it was.
It was an empty luggage? So you were going to travel without clothes? I am so confused by this tradition.
Did you do the 12 grapes?
Yeah, well, I mean, why are you just deflecting?
Because you're judging.
I'm not judging. I think it's strange, but I'm not judging.
I can't believe you didn't know I did that.
No, I had no idea.
Oh God.
Were we dating when you were doing this?
Probably. Yeah. I mean, I did it. Yeah.
Dang. If I would have known.
Oh gosh. Did you actually do the 12 grapes though?
We did the 12 grapes. We did. Another tradition that I don't know if this is it a Hispanic thing? If it's not a Hispanic thing and you're not Hispanic and you've done this, let us know. Maybe write it on the chat or send us a DM. I'm just really interested. But I think it was a Hispanic thing where we took out 12 grapes representing each month.
Yeah.
And each grape in each month represented a New Year's resolution.
Okay, no, that's not how we did it. We had to eat the 12 grapes in 12 minutes. So you had
What?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That was the thing.
And then, but it was just for good luck.
It was just for good luck?
Yeah. That was my understanding of it.
But the thing is, it's not that hard to eat 12 grapes in 12 minutes.
I mean,
You can literally eat 12 grapes in 5 minutes.
I mean, it depends on who you are.
I mean, you're usually not chewing a grape for a whole minute. You know, it's like probably like 2 or 3 bites, and then it's. I don't know. You've done some really weird stuff. That's just crazy. Anyways, so because of it, I did the right tradition.
Okay.
We are actually gonna do it together right now.
What? Oh my God, you keep with these surprises.
We are going to eat 12 grapes, and we're gonna
But
do.
I don't like the sound of chewing. Please don't chew like a cow.
Okay, we're gonna do 12. I'm gonna do 6. You're gonna do 6, and we're gonna do on the spot resolutions.
Like resolutions that we actually have?
Yes, on the spot. Here we
Oh
go.
my
Ready?
gosh.
I
If
got
you're
grapes right
watching
here.
on the camera, he literally
Little bowl for you.
hid grapes in the.
Little bowl for me.
Oh, why is your bowl bigger?
Because I'm bigger than you,
Oh my God.
and you're little. Little bowl for little person. Big bowl for big person.
Okay.
All right, here we go. You're gonna go first.
Wait, no. What am I supposed to do?
You have to eat the grape, and as you're chewing, you're gonna say
Oh, that's gross.
you're gonna say what the resolution is. Go.
Oh gosh.
But it has to be quick.
Okay. Oh.
Come on.
I'm gonna read the Bible in chronological order.
Wow, you're such a Christian. I'm gonna get a 6-pack. Whoa.
I'm gonna be undefeated playing pickleball.
I'm gonna be a way better pickleball player than you are. And go.
I'm gonna get to play with the Orlando Squeeze at least one time this year.
Oh yeah, we just have to pay to make that happen, so that's actually a possibility. Okay, I'm gonna read my Bible every day.
Oh God, that's another resolution.
Wait, we were just supposed to do 6. We have 12 grapes each. That's a total of 24 resolutions.
I don't know how many grapes I've eaten.
I think we've done 3 so far. So let's do
I
another.
just ate my 4th grape.
Okay, go.
I am going to be unbothered this year.
Okay. I don't know. That's kind of ominous.
I feel so judged by you right now.
I'm gonna get up Monday through Friday at 5 a.m.
Are you really?
Yep. Because I have a coach. Shout out to Chris Mazzaro.
I'm gonna get up with you.
Doubt that. I'm sorry. I'm kidding.
I already wake up.
When?
Oh my God, you wake up 15 minutes earlier than me, and you literally are like, oh my God.
Actually, I wake up 20 minutes earlier than you because breakfast is usually always ready by 6:20. And then by 6:23, you're usually in the kitchen eating, barely awake, eyes barely open.
That's such a lie.
Okay, we've got 2 more resolutions. I think it's my turn, or is it your turn?
It's your turn.
I'm gonna go to the gym Monday through Friday. I'm not gonna miss one workout.
No, what about Friday pickleballs? You're gonna have to double them up.
That's
We're
fine.
playing pickleball every Friday morning.
That's fine.
Okay.
I'm not making my trainer upset. Shout out to Rebecca.
I am going to stick to eating whole foods
Wow.
and not cheating with dairy.
And Oreos.
I don't eat Oreos.
Let's do 2 more. Ready?
I only have 1 more grape left.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why do I have 4 left? The math is not mathy. Okay. I got one. Not only am I gonna read my Bible every day, I'm gonna pray every day.
I'm going to be better about my nighttime routine.
Very good. Good job. Let's give each other.
I was very stressed.
Let's give each other a big round of applause. I think. Can you imagine if I took out 2 luggages?
That would have been so
That
fun.
would have been so dope. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, I think it's always important for people to set up resolutions and to set up goals. But I think what's really important too is just making sure that we always set up a strong foundation. I feel like foundations is usually a thing that's kind of repetitive in our conversation.
Yeah.
Just because I really believe that foundations make who you are. I think who you're becoming is always more important than what you're doing.
Yeah.
And one of the things I'm really grateful for is that we've started establishing rhythms in our life that are helping us become the people that we actually want to be.
Yeah.
Right. So one of the things that we have implemented, I mean, we've done different versions of this in the last couple years, but I think we finally come up on a place where we have refined it,
Mm-hmm.
are these weekly check-ins.
Yeah.
But there's kind of different check-ins, there's kind of different meetings.
Yeah.
You know, there's many different ones, but there are 3 that we're aware of. There are 3 that we try to implement in practice.
Yeah.
There's usually a 1-year, check. This is like that one meeting that it usually happens towards the end of the year or the beginning of the year. It's a
Oh.
big annual meeting
Yeah.
where you're forecasting vision for what the next year is going to be like. So
Which is one of our favorites. Like, we love to sit down and you're a visionary, right? So, like, coming up with a vision for the year, coming up with goals,
right.
making them tangible. We talked about this in our last episode, where we have like specific categories that
Yep.
we actually talk through and that we plan for, and there's actionable steps attached to them. And here's the reality: like, so many people create goals for their individual lives, and then they forget to set goals for their relationship.
Yeah,
You know?
100%. Yeah. So it's no longer like, obviously, once you get married, it's no longer just Mike's individual financial dreams, and it's
Mhm.
no longer just Steph's individual financial dreams. We both have a shared,
It's ours.
it's ours, So we come together, and we make a plan. Some of the categories are, we make a plan for our finances. What do we want our finances to look like in a year? We make career plans, and then we put actionable steps as to how we're going to excel in our career. We make budget plans. We make family plans.
Yeah.
There are these big rock that I call categories
Mm-hmm.
for the year that we usually do at this annual meeting. Then we do the
Quarterly.
quarterly every
Mhm.
3 months, where we do this meeting where it's really just like a checkup on, hey, how are we doing on these goals that we had set? Are we hitting our benchmarks for the podcast that we
Mhm.
just launched? Are we hitting the benchmarks and the milestones for the financial budget and plan that we just put into place?
Yeah.
There's a big trip that we want to take at the end of the year. Have we been preparing, for that? Yeah. And then the last one, which is my favorite one, because I think this is the one that really keeps us on track,
Yeah.
is that we've implemented this weekly touch point.
Mhm.
Basically what it is an opportunity for us to attune to each other's emotions. It's an opportunity for us to put a pulse on our relationship and marriage. Are we connected? Are we talking? Or have we just been 2 ships passing each other
Yeah.
this week?
Yeah.
So it's really an opportunity for us to gauge the temperature of our marriage for that week.
Yeah, and it helps you prioritize it.
Right.
Right. So, like, in our last episode, we talked about a couple of things that will help you sustain a healthy relationship or a
Right.
healthy marriage, and these weekly check-ins are one of them. But we kind of wanted to elaborate on it because
did.
it's so important. I mean, I see couples in my office all the time, and this is the one thing. Number one, that people are like, "Oh my gosh, do people actually do this? Like,
Right.
this
Right.
feels
Right.
really
Right.
awkward." But number two, it's life changing
Right.
for their relationship.
Yep. So we're going to share what our agenda more or less looks like for these weekly check-ins, and hope that the same transformation we've been experiencing, you guys get to experience it as well as you're having these conversations with each other. But I think there's a couple important things that we need to know before we start talking about our agenda items. And that is that we do need to set a solid foundation, and we need to prepare ourselves for this meeting that we're going to have. Now, maybe you're thinking weekly check-in, like that sounds like a lot, like a weekly meeting with my spouse. I'm at work, I've got kids. My Monday through Friday is meetings. I would say that weekly check-ins are both rigid and also very flexible at the same time. Rigid in the sense where it's a priority. This is something that we want to have. We're going to have it every single week, but sometimes flexible in the way that you have it.
Yeah.
So I think maybe if you've never done this before, you probably want to be like a little bit more strict in both areas. Like, you want to make sure that you're having it every single week. But I think to help you have it every single week, there's a couple things you got to think through. I think number one, you got to designate a time, right? Like, put it on the calendar. We calendar things that we feel are important. For example, you just don't show up to a doctor's office and be like, yo, I'm here for my checkup, but you haven't set an appointment for it. Why? Because it's important. So, because this marriage weekly check in is important, you have to set a time. Don't just set a time, but also set a place. Think of a place where you can have vulnerable open conversations, because sometimes these conversations are full of joy, they're full of life, they're full of hope. And then there's other times where these conversations can be hard, they can be sad, and sometimes they can bring you even to tears. It can be conversations around heartbreak, it can be conversations around loss, it can be conversations around regret. So you have to approach the time and the place with wisdom. Now, here's the beautiful thing about it. I think when you do this pretty frequently, then you can start approaching some flexibility. Like if there's not anything that's like super pressing, I think sometimes this is actually just really great pillow talk where we're just like sitting down or like watching TV at night and we're in bed together and maybe we turn up the TV and it's like we practice opportunities for us to be able to check in with one another. But before you get flexible, really make it a priority. Why? Because when you make it a priority, when you're consistent, it builds trust in your relationship. Your husband or your wife feels like, wow, this person really values the fact that they want to have a strong marriage. And I can see that because it's calendared, it's time, and the place is thought about.
Yeah, I love that. And I also think it's so important. Not only do you have to set a time, set a place, and be consistent, but you also have to show up with an agenda.
Mhm.
If you don't plan it, it's going to fail, right? It's like trying to show up to a work meeting without a proper agenda. It's going to be chaotic.
Right.
Someone's always going to have something to say. There's going to probably be tension in the air. There's not going to be an order to the meeting. It's the same thing for our weekly marriage meeting, and so what we wanna do is that we want to help you win. Like, we want you to have a thriving, healthy marriage, a healthy relationship, and so we're going to provide the agenda for you. So today we're gonna walk through what your agenda should look like right off the bat. Again, this is for the weekly check-in, not the
Mhm.
yearly or not the quarterly. Those look very different, and
Right.
we can talk about those. If you guys want us to dive into what
Yeah.
those look like, let us know. Send us a DM, put a comment on our
Mhm.
YouTube or on one of the platforms. But today we're going to walk through the agenda of what it should look like for you in your marriage meeting.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So here's the first thing that's on our agenda. We call this the scale. So basically, what I'm asking is on a scale of 1 to 10, how connected did you feel to me this week? Now, before we go any further, please know that with this question, you've got to put on your humble pants.
Your humble pants.
Your humble pants. Because this question is not about you if you're asking it. This is not like a setup question like, oh, tell me what you're
I
going to
wish
say.
you would.
I wish you would. Mess around, you're going to find out. No, this question is to find out what your spouse, what your partner is actually feeling and being able to empathize with what they're feeling. This is not an opportunity for you to justify whatever bad actions that you took. This is not an opportunity for you to justify yourself as to why your wife doesn't feel connected to you. This is an opportunity for you to create space and listen to her emotions about how she's actually feeling in the moment. And when you don't like what she's saying, men, the best thing that you can do is shut up. Don't fix it, just listen, which is my problem. I try to fix everything. If Steph brings up an issue, I'm like, so what's the solution? Like, let's move past it. This is not the point in time or the point in the meeting what you're going to do. You're just going to open it up. You're going to allow her to express herself. And then when she expresses herself and when she feels heard, the next question that you're going to ask her, I'm going to give you two back to back because they're pretty tied together. The next question that you're going to ask her is, well, what can I do to help you feel more connected in the next week? Now, for the person who is receiving this question, especially if you're a woman,
Excuse me?
well, I got to talk to the ladies for a second. Especially if you're a woman and you're responding to your husband. I don't want to paint like a big, broad brushstroke on every man in America because we're all very different. But being practical really, really helps, right? So if you're going to give us things to work on, I think like a good rule of thumb would be like maybe 3 things. But once you go to 5, 10,
Well, the
15,
goal for this check-in is actually just maybe 1 to 2,
yeah.
right? So for example, let's say let's give an active example, right? So ask me the question.
Hey, baby girl.
Why'd your voice change?
I was thinking the other day
You sound like you're about to sing R&B.
about how connected we've been. And I just want to say, I love you.
Oh my gosh. Now the piano starts playing.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. For real example. Don't do that. Okay. Hey, what is something that I can do this week to
No,
help
the
me
first
feel?
question, the skill question.
Oh, okay. On a scale of 1 to 10, how connected are you feeling? I know it's always a 10.
Let's go with an 8.
An 8. Okay. Do you want to do the whole dialogue as to why you're feeling an 8? No. Let's say.
No. So the immediate next question is.
Oh, so then the immediate next question, after you explain yourself, after you explain why it's an 8, after you explain what's causing you to land where you're landing on your feelings, I'm then going to ask you, well, what can I do? What's one thing that I can do for us to feel more connected to one another in this week?
Okay. I think it would mean a lot to me if in the mornings when we wake up, you wake me up gently.
Oh,
Yeah. And you come over to my side and you give me a little kiss on the,
is this
cheek.
being like a real thing? Is this like a real thing?
I'm giving you an example.
No, but I kind of feel like this is like, is this the opportunity
No.
online to tell me? No, I'm
You're
kidding.
so silly. No.
Yeah.
And then I would really appreciate if you just did the dishes at night without me having to ask.
Oh yeah, you're definitely using this moment.
Gosh, I'm not.
That's all no, but those are great examples because they're super practical. It can be as simple as wake me up with a kiss in the morning. Please do the dishes this week. It'll be really helpful. Or hey, maybe one thing you can do this week is maybe we can just hug each other.
Yeah.
A couple times, maybe before you leave in the morning, just give me a hug or
Yeah.
maybe a text. Something
keeping it
simple and something practical.
I also did want to note, obviously we are at a place we've worked on our communication. I mean, we've been in therapy for many years and we've done a lot of work individually.
Just means we've had a lot of problems.
And as a couple, so we're at a point, right, where when we scale the question, we can talk about like, well, it's an 8 because, XYZ.
Yeah.
But I would recommend at the beginning, just give the number and then follow it up with a question.
Yeah.
While you're developing the skills on learning how to communicate.
Sure.
So the question is on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being I feel the most connected, 1 being I feel the most disconnected. Where do you land on the scale? Someone says 6.
Yeah.
The next question is, okay, in the next week, how can I bring that up to a 6.5 or a 7?
Right.
How can I help you feel more connected in our relationship? And keeping it short and simple at the beginning works until you develop further skills.
Right, exactly. Okay, let's move on to number 3.
Yes. So number 3 is there anything from the last week that we need to repair or an issue that we did not resolve?
Well, I'm happy that you asked on a podcast because there's actually a lot of things that I've been wanting to bring up to you. I'm kidding. Go ahead, continue.
You are so silly.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think that this is such an important next question because you want to create a space where it's an intentional moment where, number one, the goal is for both of you to be in a space where you are grounded enough. You are already expressing, love and connection to one another. And in this moment, when we're both level-headed, we're grounded, we're right here, we're intentional about making eye contact, maybe holding each other's hands. We're setting this time aside where you can actually bring up something. Maybe you had an argument, I don't know, Tuesday morning, and you kind of moved on from it, but maybe you're still feeling a little bit hurt by it. You can bring it up and say, this argument that we had, like I'm moving on, but I'm still really hurt and I'm still thinking about what you said and your words really hurt me. And this would be a really good opportunity now for your partner to say, you know what, I'm really sorry. I said it out of anger and it wasn't the time or place, and I should not have used the words that I did, and I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
So you have an opportunity to repair.
Right.
And this is a big one, right? Because this can be an episode all within itself, and we should probably make an episode about how to repair from conflict and how to move forward in a relationship after having, an argument or a discussion. But in these weekly check-ins, you can actually look back and speak from a definitely more grounded place and a place of, you know what, this is what happened. I've had time now to reflect on it. I've had time to think about it. And this is, what I want to share. Or you know what? Actually, I don't have anything. We had a great week. We haven't had any, discussions or altercations. And so then you can move on to the next question.
Yeah, 100%. And you said something that was so brilliant, by the way, and it was such a practical thing to implement whenever you're having this conversation. And it was the part about holding hands.
Yeah.
I think holding hands when you're talking about conflict with your spouse is such a powerful thing, because what that communicates is that our relationship is always going to be greater than the problem that we're actually talking about. So when we're holding hands, when there's an issue that we're trying to resolve and there's some sort of physical contact, we're making a decision that we're not going to let the issue drive a wedge
Yeah.
in our relationship. So we're not going to let the issue come against the relationship. Together, we're going to hold hands and we're going to come against the issue that we're trying to confront
Yeah.
in the relationship. So I would say, if you can, I mean, obviously sometimes this really depends on the issue that you're talking about. Sometimes there's going to be like a major, major, major issue and you just need space, you need time to regulate. Maybe physical touch is not what you need in that moment.
And being sensitive to that, if
Right.
that's because, for example, you are really big onto physical.
I'm always trying to touch you, girl. I'm kidding.
Whether you're upset, whether
Yeah,
you're not
yeah.
upset. And sometimes I get so overwhelmed
Yeah.
and flooded
Right.
that I just need some space. You
Sure.
are a pursuer and I am a distancer, right?
Yep.
Sometimes. And so I sometimes just need to bring myself down to my baseline
Yep.
before I can initiate some of that. So it depends on the argument.
Yeah.
It's like not a lot of pressure, but
Right.
if you're sitting on the dinner table, maybe putting your hands together or something like that could already unite you.
Yeah.
And it soothes your nervous system too. Like physical touch in that way, it regulates your nervous system. So it
100%.
gives you the safety within yourself. You're communicating with your body. I am safe. The
Yep.
problem is not bigger than us.
Yeah, correct. Exactly. So it's all about approaching it with wisdom.
Yeah.
And just having a level of understanding of like, when is the right time?
Yeah.
For the most part, I would say with us, like, I feel like for the most part, like it's like, yeah, we could hold hands, like the issue is not bigger.
100%.
But there have been moments in our marriage where we've had very, very big arguments or disagreements. And it's like,
I could barely make eye contact.
so yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Practicing wisdom, practicing, having a level of respect and empathy, for the person.
I also think it's important that in this question, because especially when couples start to implement this, and there's a lot of tension, a lot of topics to bring up, this is not the time to bring up a laundry list of things. We're talking about what happened this week.
Remember that one time 3 years ago? It's like, oh Lord.
Or if something happened almost every day this week, or something triggered an argument that lasted a couple of days, right? Where you're having a hard time coming back together.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is the opportunity where you have to, number one, bring it up in a respectful, compassionate,
correct.
with mercy, with grace.
Right.
This is a time to actually change how you communicate around the
I love
issue
that.
took place.
I love that.
Right? So how you communicate about it, how you choose to bring it up, it really matters. Obviously we open it up because it's part of the agenda. It's, we already know that it's going to happen. So you think about it beforehand. When you think about it, you can use wisdom. It's not in the moment where you're like, your feelings take over.
Right.
Now you're speaking out of anger or out of disappointment or out of sadness and frustration. And that's when you say things that you really don't mean.
For sure.
When you have time to think about it, you can use wisdom, you can use grace, compassion, empathy, understanding. And the goal of answering this question is mutual understanding. The goal is not for you to listen to me and for me to be right and you to be wrong. The goal is always going to be mutual understanding.
Right, correct.
It's going to be, I want to jump into your shoes and I want to empathize with your experience. And I really want to hear you. I want to see you. I want to hear the ways in which I hurt you and vice versa.
Right.
So the goal here is for us to understand each other. It's not for you to get your point across and for me to get my point across.
Correct. Correct.
If you want to be right in marriage, you're
already wrong.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So it's important for you to go into it with that mentality, because this is the one that so many couples get wrong.
100%. And I think it also saves us from a lot of problems. Like, just knowing that you're going to have this weekly check-in gives you the ability to pick and choose in the moment. Is this a battle that really needs to be fought right now?
Correct.
Like you said earlier, it's like, oh no, we can actually hold on to our anger in a sense and resolve it within ourselves so that we can approach the conversation with a level of wisdom, grace, understanding.
Yeah.
Sometimes when it's such a small problem, like sometimes it's not even worth bringing it up in the moment. Sometimes it is better to maybe not blow up your evening if it's not anything detrimental. Hold on to it because we have a system, right? We have a time and a place where we're actually going to talk about this,
Yeah.
right? We're not going to let the problem become bigger than the relationship.
Yeah, and I also think one of the things that we do that I love is, like, we're gonna put a pin on this,
Yeah.
and we'll come back to it.
Yeah.
Because right now I don't have the emotional capacity to talk about
Yeah,
this,
for sure.
you know? Putting a pin on it, but then knowing, actually, this pin has a deadline.
Yeah.
And the deadline is gonna be our weekly
Yeah,
check-in,
for sure.
you know? And then you can approach it much better.
Okay, so let's jump on to the next. We've talked about a couple things. Number one, we want to scale. Number two, we want to ask, what can we do to increase the scale? If you're feeling a level 6 connected, how can I get you to a 6.5? Go ahead and remind us of number three.
Is there an issue in the last week
Yep.
that we still need to repair from?
Exactly.
Or is there an issue that we have not yet resolved?
There it is. Okay, and then number four, here's what we're going to do. The fourth thing that we usually have our agenda is this. Let's talk about what we have coming up this week. I think one of the things to remember is that in any relationship, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, you're engaged, the reality is that you are a team. You're a team. Now, for me, this is a pretty difficult thing. I'm just going to be honest because naturally, in many ways, I'm very independent. I'm very much like solo. I like to do my own thing, not be interrupted with my schedule, with my plan. If I have a schedule, if I have a rhythm, if I have a routine and somebody comes in between it, it completely freaks me out. I think it's part of my ADHD. But one of the things that I need to remember is that it's no longer just me, it's both Steph and I. It doesn't mean that we can't have any level of independence, but what it does mean is that she needs to be aware of what I'm going to be doing. I need to be aware of what she's going to be doing. And also, let's be aware of the mutual things that we're going to be doing together. This helps resolve mental load issues, so it's like, do we need to do laundry this week? Or do we need to cook this week? Or what are the responsibilities in our home that we have to do this week? Not only responsibilities, but do we have an event? Steph and I, we live very full lives with me being a pastor. She's running a private practice. We always have events or we have gatherings. We have people that we need to see, teams that we're building, businesses that we're building. So there's a lot that happens, right? So we want to find alignment, right? Why? Because I personally think that alignment is usually better than assignment, right? If you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go together. And that's the beautiful thing about marriage. Whatever the goal is, the dream is, having a spouse, having a partner to push you and help you get there, you'll get there so much quicker, but you have to actually invite them in on the journey.
Yeah.
I think that this will stop from your relationship feeling again like you're just two ships passing in a night. And it's like, oh man, haven't seen you or spoken to you all day. What you been up to? Hey, good to see you. I think it's an opportunity for us to unite on our goals,
Yeah.
our dreams, our visions, and also support each other in the things that we want to accomplish.
That's right. And I think I remember in the beginning of our marriage, this was a very big area of tension between us.
What?
Because in the beginning of our marriage,
In the beginning.
in the beginning of our marriage, this was definitely a point of tension for us. And it's because part of your gifting, part of your superpower
Yeah.
with the ADHD
Yeah, sure.
is that you would be really excited in the moment and make a bunch of plans with a bunch of people, and then I'll have people texting me, "Hey man, where are you guys?" And I'm like, what are you talking about?
It's still a problem sometimes.
Like, what are you talking
Like
about? Where
I think tonight I had like 10 hangouts.
you know?
Yeah.
And so incorporating this in our weekly check-in,
Right.
like a complete game changer.
Yeah.
But it's so important because it unites you. It puts you, together. We are a team. We're approaching the week ahead as a team together. I know where you are. I know what you're doing. Vice versa. I know what we're doing. And there's nothing more beautiful than being united
Yeah,
in that way.
I agree.
For us, we have a mutual calendar that we share. And so obviously everything is on that calendar, but in case anything slips by, we have a conversation
Yeah,
about it,
totally.
on a week-to-week basis.
Totally. Amazing. Okay, we've got one more to go.
Yes, we do. And the ending is my favorite part.
Go for it.
And that is expressing gratitude. I mean, gratitude will take you so far in your relationship, creating a culture of appreciation
Right.
and thanksgiving, like you being thankful, you expressing that gratitude to one another. It builds a bond. It builds a deep bond. And so at the end of the meeting, you end on this high note of, we've talked about all the heavy stuff. All right, now let's talk about the things that we did notice in the last week that really meant a lot, that I valued deeply. And so you express 1 to 3 things that you're thankful for that your partner did. And this is not like, thank you for being you today or thank you for being you this week. No, this is specific.
Right.
Like, you know what, babe? I'm so grateful that on Monday, you knew I was having a long day and I didn't want to cook dinner after work. So you made burgers for us and dinner was ready
Right.
after I got out of work and it was so good. And I'm just so thankful that you took the time to do that. You're so thoughtful.
Yeah.
So I'm speaking to your character. I'm speaking to who you are. It's not just about what you did, it's about who you are.
Right.
And it helps you feel seen. Like when you can express this kind of gratitude, it validates the other person as to who they are and who you're seeing in front of you versus what they're doing. And that's what makes you happy.
100%.
It's about the fact that who you are means everything to me. I
Definitely.
value your input. I value your effort. I
Right.
value the fact that, you took the time to actually think about me and did X, Y, and Z. And building that culture of just gratitude and appreciation will help you be connected.
I love that. Well, here's the reality. Both gratitude and criticism are magnifying glasses.
Yep.
And the question is, what are you going to magnify?
Yeah.
Are you going to magnify the good? Are you going to be grateful? Or are you going to magnify the bad?
Yeah.
Usually when you magnify the bad is a recipe for disaster. But when you magnify the good, it's a recipe for healing.
Yeah.
So you just got to choose. I think sometimes when we're naturally going to find ourselves in places where we're going to be disappointed, we're going to be discouraged, and it's natural for our emotions to snowball on negativity.
Yep.
I don't know why that is in the human brain. You would know that more than I do. But the
Bias.
reality is, for most people, our brains snowball on the negative. So we actually have to do active work. Gratitude is a practice.
Yep.
Gratitude isn't always a feeling.
No, it's
Gratitude,
definitely not a feeling.
it's a soul check. It's getting your soul in check, getting your heart in check, getting your perspective in check, and it's making a decision to value and magnify the right things, because the right things are eventually going to bring healing to your marriage.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, are kind of just like, well, I'm going to wait until I feel grateful. Or
Right.
I'm going to wait until they do X, Y, and Z for me. And it's like, actually, like, no, hold on a second. Let's create that bias in our brain so that we're constantly looking for evidence of the things that you actually are doing. Every time we're turning towards each other, I'm so thankful that when you passed by me, you caressed my back. It made me feel so seen and loved in that little micro moment. Or right before you left to work, you gave me a kiss and you embraced me and gave me a hug. It made me feel like nothing in that moment was more important than doing that for me. And I felt so connected to you. It's like the very little things that really matter. And when you call attention to those and you start speaking those over your relationship, you start to notice those, you start to see your spouse in a different light.
I love it.
You build a different kind of bond.
100%. We want to encourage you. If a weekly check-in isn't a normal thing that you've done, I think this might be a great opportunity for you to try it, for you to put it into place. And I think it'll be a beautiful thing. Just give it a shot.
Yeah.
And for us, like, we had 5 different things that we had talked about, but maybe for you, it doesn't need to be all 5. Maybe do 2, maybe do 3. Start small, but start somewhere. And remember, choose a time, choose a place, have a scale, ask how you can increase the scale. Point number 3.
You always forget point number 3.
Because point number 3 is usually yours.
Look
Back on the
Yeah.
conflict.
Yeah.
And then
And-
point number 4 was alignment.
Yeah.
Was looking forward, looking ahead. What are the things that we want to do?
And number 5 is the most important. Be grateful.
And number 5 is
Express
be
that
grateful.
gratitude.
Yeah, 100%. So, hey, look, we want to be in your corner. We want to be a resource for you guys. Whether you're married, whether you're not, whether you're single, whether you're in a relationship, we're praying and we're hoping that this podcast so far has brought you a level of healing, a level of awareness. Hopefully, the reality of our podcast and its meaning, conversations create change. Hopefully, you're experiencing that in your life as you're having vulnerable conversations with your friends, with your families, with your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your wife, your husband. We just believe that when you have the right kind of conversations, you will experience positive change. Now, it's the beginning of the year. And I always say, it's not how you start the year, it's always how you end the year. But usually, how you end the year has a lot to do with how you start the year. So let's start the year strong together. Why? Because I believe that we have a God who wants to do great things in your life. So keep your faith up, keep your hope up. I believe that the best is still yet to come for you, your friends, and your family in 2025.
That's right.
We love you guys so much. Please make sure that you subscribe to the podcast, to the YouTube, to the TikTok, to the Instagram. Follow us on all the things. What are Spotify?
Podcast,
There it is.
Apple Podcast, YouTube. Subscribe.
Yep.
Every comment matters. We look at them. Every DM matters.
Yep.
Every like. So just interact with us. Let us know what you guys want us to talk about.
Yeah.
If there's any topics that you guys want us to address, if
Yep.
there's anything from the podcast or today's episode that you kind of want us to hone in on, let us know. We want to have a conversation with you as well. So we love you. We're excited for everything that's ahead for the podcast
Let's
in
go.
2025, but also for your life in 2025. We are believing for incredible things for you. We love you. We'll see you in the next episode.
See you soon.